3, 2.
Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Jeff with Junior Hockey Advisor. Sunday night, time to talk a little hockey. Looking forward to tonight. Looking forward to having a great discussion. We're going to spend a little time talking about Instat. I try to share with you all the tools that you use as a scout, that you use as a team. Instat has kind of taken over the market over the last few years as being the go-to. There used to be other products in the market for video analysis, and they're still out there. There's a difference between being able to cut a video and provide statistics instantly to players. Instat, literally, before a kid is on the bus the night of a game, can have all of his shifts sent to him by Instat. And overnight, through the processing of the league, depending on which league they're in, they can get everything broken down to them. And I'm going to show you a little bit about that. And there's a difference, though. There's a difference between Instat and what Instat's doing and other products on the market like Stiva, where it's more of a telestration purpose for teaching. Breaking down the film is great for scouting, is great for showing the kid shifts, and it's also great for teaching. But there's a difference between what Instat does in being able to take a piece of video, do some overlays on it, be able to draw some X's and O's on it and show people where they should be. A little bit different product, but Instat is probably, when you couple it with Rinknet, now you've probably heard me. Let me back up. Holy smokes, I'm so excited about talking about this. I should really kind of introduce myself to some of the people that are new. We got to always have a new audience on. We gain a ton of people each week. My name is Jeff Colson. I developed this Junior Hockey Advisor piece to be an educational, unbiased source to work on learning the process, learning what gets you from 16 to 18, 15 to 16, 18 to prep, 18 to high school, and then eventually on to junior hockey, and then from junior hockey on to college hockey. So what we do here is we discuss all the different things. We talk about the process. We're not here to talk X's and O's. We rarely talk about, how things work as far as how teams are coached. We'll talk about what you can do to be on the right side of a coach. So I've been doing this for over 30 years. I currently work as a player development director for a team in Tier 2 hockey and in the North American Hockey League. And this is what I do. I've been an owner. I've been a general manager. I've been a coach for years. I'm a level 5 certified coach through USA Hockey. So I take what I know, what I learn, what I see, and I try to make it easier for you to understand the whole process. So tonight, we're talking Instat. We're talking about something that's near and dear to my heart. Anything that's computer driven, that is statistical based, anything that's got spreadsheets behind the scenes, I love, because I really believe that to do your job properly, statistics have to be part of the equation now. Numbers, analytics have to be a part of the equation. Now, there's a lot of old school people out there that don't agree with me, but they're few and far between now compared to where they used to be. Almost everybody believes in analysis and analytics to some point now compared to where the game used to be. So, hey, look, if you're out there and you want to say hi, jump on, say hello. If you've got questions about this as we go along, we're not going to spend a lot of time tonight on this, but we'll walk through Instat. We'll walk through where it fits and who uses it, why they use it, and give you a little bit more of an idea. I think you're going to be amazed at how much information is available to coaches and how much information is available to players at the higher levels now, because this is a product that's used from high school hockey, U18 hockey, all the way up now. When I talk to a U18 kid that we're recruiting, a lot of times the first thing he says, "Are you guys using Instat?" Yeah. Okay. Boom. We get information through Instat on a player. He can send over shifts, good or bad. We can sift through information. So hopefully that helps a little bit. We've got a good crowd going already, but once again, jump on and say hi. Make sure you tell us where you're watching from. A little bit about what we want. If you can get on to our Facebook page, like our Facebook page. If you come on through our discussion group, Junior Hockey Advisor Discussion, make sure you join that group too if you can. And always, that this is my Achilles heel. although it's getting better. We've gone from 300 to 400 subscribers in the last couple of weeks here. My Achilles heel in this whole process, Facebook, we tear it up. We're in the tens of thousands of people on Facebook that watch our materials and interact with us between our different platforms. YouTube can't seem to crack that nut yet. So if you can get on and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do. Junior Hockey Advisor. And there's a lot more content on Junior Hockey Advisor. You can jump on there and see a ton of great content. So let's jump in. Let's talk a little bit about this. Let's get rolling. I'm going to try to put this into an overlay format. Bingo. And I will clean this up a little bit for you. And we're going to jump right into Rinknet. And Rinknet is the foundation. What does Rinknet do? Well, Rinknet is the backdoor platform that leagues use, scouts use, and this is used by the NHL. It's used by almost every major junior league worldwide. It's used by colleges. It's used by tons and tons of teams in different leagues. And what Rinknet is, and this is just, I can't get into it because what I use is proprietary. So I got to be careful on what I'm actually showing when it comes to the actual Rinknet process. I hope you're not seeing that. I'm trying to get that out of the way. Okay. What I want you to know, though, is it's a backdoor piece. What you see on elite prospects, Rinknet is drawing the same information from the same sources. Very credible, very sterile. It's not, you're not able to manipulate it as a parent or as a coach. The information is pretty solid. You rarely see egregious mistakes. And usually, to be honest with you, where the most mistakes are made is on other sites is parents, and this is just calling a spade, goalie parents love to jump in and manipulate stats. They love to correct the wrongs of the world, but they seem to always correct it just in the favor of, moi. And you can't do that on League Prospects for the most part. And of course you can't do it on Rinknet. But I started off with Rinknet, just kind of showing you what Rinknet is, because, and once again, this is proprietary. I don't want to get into that. But I, on that platform, can pull up a player. I can pull up just about any stat on a player. I can pull up their information, emails, phone numbers. I can pull up and look at how their year is going, their prior seasons. If they have a family advisor, I've got all that contact information on there. And if I don't know who the family advisor is, I can even pull up information on him and all the other players he represents too, all in an instant on my finger. It does my scheduling, every game that I've got scheduled to watch, what ranks I'm supposed to be in, and my staff. So now I know where my scouts are at. Of course, I can plug in our home team, the team I work for, their games into my schedule too. And so even if I'm not live, I know where everybody's at and what's going on, and so does everybody else in the organization. It's a one-stop shop for us, and this is, it's a null-based program, meaning everybody in the null uses this, and it makes it easier to control. Now, varying degrees of use. Some programs don't use this at all. They just don't really touch it at all. Other programs jump in with both feet. So Instat is part of it. It's integrated into Rinknet. So if I'm looking at a player in Rinknet and I want to watch video, I can go into Instat from Rinknet and I can watch all the video on him. So I'm going to pull up and show you a little bit of what Instat looks like. And so I'm going to start off just here with, this is my kid. And I'm only using him because it's an easy one to show. And I'm going to show you a couple other kids, just so you know. I pulled up a few. Zach Bookman is a kid that's playing up for the Brook Bandits, tearing it up. He's a defenseman that's a very offensive defenseman. And I got this other kid that plays at, I think, at the University of Michigan. Oh, his name's Luke Hughes. I think he's pretty good too. This Luke Hughes kid at the University of Michigan. And so I want to show you a few things here. Now, let's just start off with Luke Hughes. This is the Instat page that you first get. And the first thing that your eyes are attracted to, of course, is the little map in the bottom left-hand corner there. That's a heat map. That shows you where his productive areas on the ice are, okay? That shows you where he's playing at, where he spends most of his time at. Yeah, it gets to be that cool. Okay, now up on the top here, you see you can look at goals, assists, errors leading to goals. That's when he makes a mistake. Best actions, that means that actually, the things that he's doing really good on the ice, boom. Or when he really makes a big mistake, you can just pull that up too. And if you go over here, you got his basic information on that left column. You can see, what jerseys he's worn because, he is playing on national teams too. It shows you his age, his height, his weight, and it shows you, once again, his action areas. He's active mostly in the D zone, but, he's pretty active in that offensive zone too. If you don't know who this is one of the Hughes brothers. He's going to be a phenomenal NHL player. He's doing a great job at Michigan. But over here, here's some information that gets really, really fun. And we haven't even got into the video part. I'm going to show you that in a second. But this is his Instat index. So this gives you an idea of how you're indexed. And this breaks down, it factors in ice time. It factors in turnovers. It factors in puck possession time, how much of a game you're playing, how much of an influence, and how good your team is. All those numbers factor in, and it gives you an index number. So some teams, you could be the best on the team and have a 140 rating. On other teams, a 216 may not be the highest. It could be the top third. I would imagine, and I'm not going to go in and do the homework on it right now, but I got to imagine that a 216 is probably pretty good in the Big Ten, and it's probably good for his team. Amount of games played, here's his goals, his points, his plus minus, all the other major things you can look at. So now we get into this next one, which is skills. All right, now this is where it gets to be cool. And this is the thrilling part of the business when you've got these things at your fingertips. I can just click on this button here, and within a second, it's going to pop up, and it's going to start showing me all the assists, back to back to back that Luke Hughes is involved in. Okay, now we'd have to actually go back and look to see what play because they're going to come fast.
Luke Hughes,
but every time he makes a play, he just rattles off and he'll show me the play, and then the next one, and it's in sequential order.
Luke Hughes to Samoskevich. His shot, he scores!
So I can do that with Luke Hughes on just about everything. I want to look at his well, that was his. Did I hit assist or goals on that? I hit assisting. Now, if I want to get up and see what goals he's involved with and him scoring, I just hit the goals button. All right, and now, boom, it just takes me right to the plays where he's actually scoring goals. So fires one from the point and scores. Now, and once again, I do this because this is different leagues. That's Luke Hughes playing at the University of Michigan. You would expect the University of Michigan to have it, but now let's just go over and see Zach Bookman, who happens to be right here. And Zach plays in the AJHL, having an unbelievable year, playing for an unbelievable team. 102 points maybe for the year. Those numbers up there, remember, are cumulative over 2 seasons because it's a 12-month window up on top there. But if we just go up and look at some of the goals, we can pull up the same thing. I'm not going to rattle through a bunch here, but I just want to show you that I want to look at a kid in the AJ, and boom, it just pulls it up that quick for me. Now I can see, his goals and see him scoring goals. Boom, boom, goal. Now it's that quick. It's that simple, and it's sequential. Once again, this will just keep feed after feed after
by
feed
Hackett,
of the goals
who falls
scoring.
over and loses the puck. But in the end,
piece
Bookman
after
comes
piece.
up with it, and he's going to
I
take a
think,
look,
okay,
and he
he's
shoots, and he
goals.
scores on the backhand, getting
Just
around.
on goals. I can pull up and look. Now, let me back up here a second. We'll go back into Zach, and let's get a stat that's a little bit harder to. Let's see, shot blocking. You'd think probably not a stat that you can get video cuts on, but now you're going to see that every time that, boom, right there in front, blocked a shot. And it just keeps going through all.
And we are underway. Puck is down, and the Bandits won the draw. They made the first move, but they turned it over. Here's Flint, a quick shot. It
took one right in the gut there.
Get it to Singleton. He couldn't knock it down, but the puck rolls to the point. Here's Nick Wolfenberg in the slot. Flint turns, can't fire. Now it's back turning around, and his shot.
Once again, you want to do it in the null. This is my son. Let's figure out. That's just a map that gets into the details I can pull up in here. I want to see how he did even strength. I can pull it up, and it'll show me where he was shooting pucks even strength. I want to see where he took penalties on the ice. It'll show me every spot. By clicking the button, I can just pull up every spot where he took a penalty for that season. I want to see where he loses pucks at. I want to see if there's a habit or something I've got to worry about as a coach. And it'll actually go through and show me where he lost pucks on the ice. Now, remember, that's over the course of a year, and it looks that way for everybody. It's not that bad, but it also shows puck recoveries, and it'll pull up all the information on puck recoveries, and it'll pull up puck battles. You can look at puck battles, which is fun. This is a really fun to do because you can do this with your video too. And there's every place on the ice he was battling for pucks. You want to see hits? It'll pull up hits, and you can see the amount of hits and where the hits are coming on the ice and where he hits at. And here's a stat that's pretty interesting. Now you could actually pull up, and this is for his last 10 games, I think, last year. This also is hits against. So you can also see where your players are taking the hits. So let's say you got a guy that keeps getting injured, and you're like, okay, so now you can go to video, excuse me, and you can pull up and say, all right, I want to see every hit against him and see where he's getting hit on the ice. So this is, once again, this is my son, but this is hits against. So you know I'm not doing this to boast, but there he comes up the ice, he cuts in the middle, gets popped, boom. That's hits against. Now, if I had a kid that was getting hurt all the time, I could figure out, okay, maybe he's doing something. His head's
Robinson
down.
backhands out to center. Colson turning with it, avoids the pressure of Weiss.
Put himself in a bad spot.
And down in.
Just interesting,
Klein,
different tools, and different ways they use this tool. It is so powerful. And so the reason I talk about this and the reason I'm bringing this up and we're chatting about this is when you think that, oh, the coach doesn't know what he's talking about. I guarantee you the amount of information that's in a coach's hand at the college level, at the junior level. Now, this is not every league. I'm not sure if the NCDC is using the Instat process right now. I don't know if the tier 3s are all using Instat. I think a lot of them are. But it's so amazing when your players are on a long road trip and before they go to sleep on the bus, they've already pulled out their laptop, their iPad, they've pulled out their phone, they've already watched their shifts for the night, they already see what's going good, they see what's going bad, and they can actually see everything they did. And even the coach can shoot them a text saying, hey, look at that 4th shift. Hey, look at that 5th shift you had. And it breaks it down so they can look at different things. The coach can go up and he can look at his turnovers. He can look at where his shots are coming from. In video form, these aren't now, it's just not the dots. It's not just X's and O's on a paper. It's taking this information and integrating it into live information that can be used. So thought it'd be interesting to kind of give you an idea how cool it was. Let's say hi to some people. Andy's on from Knoxville. Dana's on from New Hampshire. Vincenzo, he is on from New York as usual. We've got Danny's on from up in Quebec. Good to see you, Danny. My son's U6 team is using Instat. Vincenzo says that too. Vinny, thank you for letting me know that. We've got Odessa on. I'm sure if it's Odessa, it's coming from the best billet family in the world. James and Anna are down there. And I know that's for the fact because they say Go Pointers, and that's a University of Wisconsin reference. William's on from Wisconsin. Charles is on from New York. New York's leading the league tonight. Justin's on from Bismarck. Anthony on wants to know X-Prospect Exchange. I don't know the product. Anthony, tell me a little bit about what it does, and maybe I can look it up while we're here and talking. Jacob's on from Winston, one of our long watchers and participants in this. Lisa's on from Seattle. Kyle on from Nebraska. Lisa says, wow, amazing. Let's see. Hello from Illinois. We have U14 players in Illinois and a U18 in Billets in Ohio. Glad to see that. That only shows up as a Facebook user, so I can't tell who that's from. Branda's on from Virginia. Once again, Danielle, I think that's Danielle. Thanks for pointing out that compliment about this. Dan's on from Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Close second to God's country with Sheboygan, Michigan. Brian's on from Jersey. Pat's on from Munising, Michigan. Munising, right next to Christmas. Pictured Rocks. If you're ever driving, one of the straightest shots is going from Munising and heading over to Marquette, it's just like you fall asleep. It's that straight of a road. You got to be careful. But beautiful town, beautiful town. Glad to see somebody's on from up in that area. Brian's on in New Jersey. Paul's on from Mass. Great to see such a great crowd tonight. And if I didn't grab you, sorry about that. I'll make sure I try to say hi next time. I know we've got just a ton of people. Anyway, that's Instat. It's amazing. Once again, I can show you so many things about this, and it's fun. That's the thing that makes my job is fun. Because now when I pull a player up, my son's home for another a medical situation from college and from hockey right now, another surgery. So we're sitting around and I'm preparing. I'm kind of looking at Instat and making sure, what I wanted to talk about, because it's proprietary. I didn't want to get into our team. I didn't want to get into current players. I didn't want to get into anything that was going to possibly, offend anybody. So I wanted to grab things. So I was playing around with him, and we just got caught up in just watching shifts, and watching his old shifts. So, just really cool process. It is easily the league leader as far as what's being used out there right now. And the indexing, what they've done is with the indexing is the ability to get a quick index on a player. Okay, that kid's a 180. What's a D on that team? They're all about 170s. He's a 180 on that team. Then, and what I didn't show you, which is pretty cool, and it's very accurate. It's an amazing accuracy to this is, let me see if I can pull this up again. One of the things it does is, and let me go back to Luke Hughes. Okay, over here on the far side here, what it does is it also breaks down worldwide the whole bank of players that he's similar to as far as the way he plays. So you got guys in the AHL, you got guys in the KHL, you got guys playing in Europe, you got guys playing still in college. But it gives you an idea that the system it's pretty accurate. It pulls players that are your peer level or as close as possible, and it allows me. Let's say I was looking at a prospect that was 18 years old. Bingo! I can pull up a kid and say, all right, I like him. Here's what his index says. Oh, who is he similar to? Oh, I know those 3 or 4 other kids. Oh yeah, they're really good. And it kind of gives me a sense of where he fits in. So I can get another cross check just on the video and the analytics side of where a kid fits into the world, just off of, the ability to use a super powerful tool on the back end. So hopefully this helps a little bit. I wasn't going to spend a lot of time on it. We spent 25 minutes or so just chatting about it a little bit. If you got questions about it, Anthony came back and says, it's a similar program for video, stat sharing, etc. Tier 1 AAA programs offer it for its players' use. No indexing that we're aware of yet. Yeah, I think I'm aware of the process and the program. You've got a lot of different sources that are allowing you to upload video now. It's amazing how much video and content can be put out there. But when you're starting integrating, what Elite Prospects is doing, and you're able to take that to, and put that on steroids, and then take that statistical side of it, and then process it in together so that all the stats are pulled out. So once again, I'm looking at all of, and I use Luke Hughes because he's kind of an open book, national hockey figure because of his USA hockey play on a world stage and his play in Michigan. But now I'm able to actually, look at his time on ice, power play time, shots. In once again, this is just the tip of the iceberg that I'm showing you. You want to get down into individual games. You can see every game and break down, their wins and losses. Does he do better in wins? Does he do better in losses? His time on ice per games. Does he get more time on the ice in wins? Does he get more time on losses? Coaches can start looking at this. Hey, we played this kid about a minute and a half too much. And, his plus minus went down in the third period when we're playing him that extra minute and a half. We trim him back a little bit. He's fine. He plays really good when he gets 19 minutes a game versus 25 minutes. Yeah, you got a guy here playing 25 minutes a game right there in his last game. But, you look down here in the U20 game against Slovakia when he's playing at the Worlds, he's getting 17 minutes a game. Different coaching, different strategy, but holy smokes, when you start getting 25 minutes here and 25 minutes there, wow, that's a lot of ice time in the game. Even if there is an overtime period involved, which I don't know if that game was. It was a 2-1 score. It probably went to OT. I can't answer that. I didn't watch the game. But the shot map, these are heat indexed, so you can see things. You get so much information off this thing. And once again, I can also break it down how he does with certain kids on the ice. So I can take his teammates and look and see, is he getting shots when this kid's on the ice? Is he getting shots when you got this kid on the ice? I'll give you one that's pretty cool. We'll go back to my son because I just know the stat. I can look at his games or his shot map. Let's go back to his shot map, which is kind of cool. And then watch this stat, because this is a stat that I love pulling up, is who does he play good against? What opponent goalies does he play good at? So here's the goalies, and you can just go, okay, how did he do against this goalie? Well, he got a lot of shots against him. How did he do against him? Well, he got a lot of shots and a goal against him. That's against that was in the national championship last year. And you can just see where his shots and his goals come from. I just think that's cool. And it shows you what goalies he was shooting against. Just cool. Just cool. That's all I wanted to show you, is the power of the things that are behind the scenes. It's amazing that we've got this much technology. It's only going to get better. This product gets better. Rinknet gets better. Rinknet used to be super, super clunky 4 or 5 years ago. Nobody wanted to use it because you had to download it onto your laptop. You had to upload and download every time you turned it on. You had to sync. Now they're pulling it into the 2000s at least, and it gets better all the time. I don't get endorsed by Rinknet. I don't get endorsed by Instat. This is just me purely showing you tools that work well for me. So anyway, if you have any questions, let's get on there. That's all I had tonight, was just to kind of show you a little bit about the Instat product, so you had an idea how it worked. If you have any questions, put them on there. If not, we'll call her at a night, and we can all turn in a little early tonight. Because we got a lot of hockey, a lot of playoffs coming up. I'm right in the swing of things. Maybe I'll give you a little while. I'm waiting to see if any other questions come in. A lot of people are still saying hi. I'm not going to go through the list of highs anymore, but thank you for coming on and saying hi. On our side of things, on the tier 1, tier 2 side of things, we're nowhere near getting done with our job as far as getting our list of players ready and our work. That's because the pre-draft camps haven't even, they don't even happen for another month and a half yet. We're still having kids skate. They come down and visit. They clearly can't play now because we've got frozen rosters, unless they were already added on as for the playoffs. That's a whole different story, though. The situation we're in now, though, is you start watching all the other teams, at least in the North American Hockey League, you start watching all the other teams fill up their tenders, fill up who they have and who they've committed to, and then who's still out there. Because remember, after the tenders are done, that's when the draft comes into play, and now it becomes very, very important for us to know who our strongest draft pick is going to be, and our logic between taking a U18, taking a prep player, taking a junior player out of Canada, or taking a chance on a kid in the BCHL or the USHL. So, you see a lot of the strategy. I've talked to this before. You can look at the North American Hockey League, and you can look at how players are drafted. You'll see late round draft picks in the USHL and the BCHL taking last in the draft. And you go, well, why would that happen? That's because that player is playing in a league that's, the USHL is a higher league. Now, there has to be a reason why that player is coming back, or maybe there's some intel on the player that he's not happy. Maybe he wants to be closer to home. Maybe he wants to play a different style of hockey. Maybe he's not getting invited back for the next season. But there's a lot of reasons that you might take a player from a higher league and draft him, but you're not going to take him in the first round, because that's probably a risky pick because of the league he's playing in. BCHL may not be considered a league above the North American Hockey League, but it's a peer level league. And if you're pulling a player from that league, you don't want to waste a pick on a kid that's not going to show up to your team. So if you think you got a shot at a kid and you think he might leave the league, yeah, you might take a late one, but you don't usually see, unless you really got a lock on a kid you might take him early. Like you absolutely know he's going to leave and he's already announced he's left, or he's already the coach or his advisor said it. You might take him in the early rounds, but that's why you see that, you see strong players in the middle and the bottom of the draft. And I just kind of wanted to say, that's all I'm saying is, you can't read the draft by the strength of all the players. Of course, a first-round player is usually really good. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I'm in the first round and I deserve to be there. That's a true statement. It's just that the further you get away from it, sometimes it's lopsided from what we're used to when we see the NHL drafts or we see the NBA drafts or the football drafts, where it's literally usually goes in fairly consistent order from the best players available down to the players that they swing off being the best available. So with that said, okay, here we go. So here's a question. It's a great question. What's the advantage of skating with a team versus waiting for the pre-draft camp? Well, there's a lot of advantages to doing that. If you're privileged enough to get a chance to skate with a team in the USHL, the BCHL, the North American Hockey League, probably the NCDC too, if that's the level you're going to play at, you get a chance to skate with them. A couple things. Usually, it's only one or two kids getting invited, and you're skating with current level players. For example, in my case, we're sending kids to skate with current North American Hockey League players. Okay, they're there, they're established. You know the team and the ranking. Now you can kind of take a younger kid and say, okay, where does he fit in? Can he skate at this level? Does he have the speed? Does he have the strength? Does he have the size? Does he have the IQ? Does he have the reaction time? All the things that you're looking at. Now, nobody's expecting a U18 player to come in and skate once or twice and to be the best player on the ice. Nobody's expecting a player to come in and just knock it dead. You got a team that's been together all year long. You are the fifth wheel. You are coming in as the square peg in the round hole, but you can still get a lot of advantage as a player because the coaches are only watching you or maybe you and one other player versus going to a pre-draft skate where you've got the multitudes. So in my opinion, you get a chance to really show yourself. You get individual one-on-one time. You can have more conversations. Not saying you can't get some individual one-on-one time during a pre-draft camp, but it's harder when you've got 4, 5, 6 teams worth of players. And let's say there's 30 to 50% of the kids that are out there have a legitimate shot on a roster spot, meaning they're of the right age, they're at the right skill level, and they're doing really well in the camp. I think I'd rather be in that spot. Now, the counter argument to that of why a pre-draft could be better for you is maybe you shine better with your peers. A lot of times a pre-draft camp, kids go in 2, 3, 4 kids from the same team. They get together, they can click, they can vibe. You just feel confident because the kids are your age and you can skate better with kids your age. Now, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? It's just, in my opinion, if you get a chance to be one-on-one with an assistant coach or a coach, and you get a chance to sit in the locker room, you get a chance to skate with the team, warm up with the team, off ice, live with a billet family for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. I think that's a huge advantage for the kids that get there. I remember there's only a couple hundred kids that'll get that experience this year between all the different leagues, maybe a few hundred kids. Not everybody gets that opportunity, but if you do get that opportunity, I think it's worth it. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Vinny, my son's a 2000. He's already at the college ranks. Let's see. Vinny says, I would recommend it. So, hey, look, it's endorsed by Vinny. We're good. Thanks, Vinny. I'm just joking. Vinny's one of our long time guys with our information here. Any other questions? There's some that are off topic. I'm going to try to stay right on topic here. Let's see here. How does the data get captured on there? At what age group or level does it start? I've seen teams using Instat at 16s. And it's usually the elite teams. I don't think I've seen any AA teams use this. I've seen some high school teams and high school leagues use this. Clearly the juniors are using this. Prep programs are using this. And how it gets done, it depends on the situation. Some teams actually cut their own video. So as soon as the game's over, you got somebody that's cutting the video, and it's a lot easier than you think. You're watching a shift, and you're doing the time on the ice for every player. When there's a hit, when there's a puck possession, literally there's companies out there you can go online and do an internship just to learn how to key in the game, and they'll teach you how to key in the game. I tried doing it because I thought it'd be fun to know how to do it. Not that I ever really wanted to sit in a rink and key in games, but I wanted to learn the process. And I lasted maybe about 3 or 4 weeks through the training process, once a week for several hours a night, and then you'd have to practice it. It's kind of like learning shorthand. So some teams do it that way. Other leagues actually hire people that will watch one game, and they'll just be assigned that game. So let's say in the North American Hockey League, there's 29 teams. There might be 3, 4, 5 people that do 2 or 3 games in a night, where they just sit there after the game's over and they'll key in the game as they're watching it. And they're fairly accurate, pretty accurate, pretty darn accurate as far as what they do. Because they're not looking to watch the game. They're 6 passes the puck to 5, boom, keystroke. 6 gets a shot from the point, keystroke. Shot gets blocked, keystroke. Goal, keystroke. And it's just time marking and time stamping the video, and then it sorts it all out. Back in the day, when I first started doing this, we thought we're way ahead of the game because we had a stack of VCRs. I think we had 5, 6 VCRs, and I used to have this handheld device, and every VCR was a different stroke button, like a physical button, kind of like a counter, 1, 2, 3 counter thing you have in your hand, like a baseball umpire would have. And one would be for, I can't remember what we do. I think it was by lines, first line, second line, third line, fourth line, and maybe power play. And we were able to break and cut those down. So all the first line shifts would go to one VCR. All the second line shifts would go to the second one. So then you would have tapes where you could, make a copy of the tape to hand to your coach that wants to show the forwards on the first line their shifts, or the forwards on the second line their shifts. So that's how far it's come in just the last 2 decades. Amazing tool. So hopefully that helps a little bit. What are the chances of a player in their final year of juniors making a NAL or NCDC team from Tier 3? We've talked about this quite a bit. We've got a lot of video on our YouTube channel about this specific title. And I'm getting better now of taking these live streams and breaking them down. I think you've seen over the last couple of weeks, I'll break them down into chunks that fit more. In this situation, it's a hard jump. It's a really hard jump to come from Tier 3, meaning the NA3HL, the Premier League, the Elite League, the EHL. It does happen, but it's a hard jump, and it's absolutely worth it if you get invited to a camp, a main camp, to go to that main camp and see where you play out at. There'll be kids I know that we're going to invite to camp, probably 4 or 5 guys from the Tier 3 level already that we've already earmarked, said, no, we want him in camp. We probably won't draft that player. We probably won't tender a player that level. And I can't speak for all NAL teams, but that's a fairly common. You'll get an invite. Sometimes you'll see. Now remember, there's a difference. You come out of the NA3HL, every NAL team has to utilize draft picks in the NA3HL and tenders in the NA3HL. So there'll be a cumulative amount, but you can see the amount is usually reflective to the minimal amount that each team has to draft or tender. You won't see people using 4 or 5 tender picks on a NA3HL level. If they have one to use there, they usually just use one. It's rare to see a team use more. It can be done. There will be players in the league that are Tier 3 players from last year. And the best way to look at that, to get a little bit more information on that, is to go into Elite Prospects and use the filter system. Go in and pull up the North American Hockey League. Okay. You talked me into it. I will help you right now. We'll pull up Elite Prospects, and I will do a quick little run through on this. So, okay, let's go into Elite Prospects. We got it up right here, and I am going to grab the NAHL as a league. Boom. There, I got the league now. So now I can go down in the league, and if I go past where all the standings are at, say there's all the teams in the league and where they stand, and I get down here to where they say player stats, and I hit this green button, show more. This will pull up all the players in the league, okay? And I believe it's set right now for total points. So the sorting factor on this right now is total points. I've got all the players in the North American League here, and if you notice, I've even got the goalies, so it's two separate lists. First list is 950 players have donned a North American Hockey League jersey as a forward or as a defenseman. And then goalie-wise, it's a little harder because they got the goalies broken down with usually into two categories, and maybe not on this list. Usually it's there we go. It's a more than 10 games and less than. So there's 58 goalies with more than 10 games, and then the less than 10 games, there's 127 goalies. So a couple hundred goalies there, a little less than a couple hundred. We're not going to worry about goalies on this. I just want to show you the sort feature and show you how you can actually look. Let's go up to the top here of this list that I have here. Just by hitting that green button on the player list, now I have the ability to go up here where these blanks are at. And this is remember, I'm using premium filter. You don't have the same amount of filters unless you pay for the premium filter. But I can come in here and I can enter a league. So I want to know how many players are coming from the USPHL Premier. Boom. So a player has played USPHL Premier in the past. Okay. So let's just see how many players. Now, remember, I'd have to sort this another way too. But just to show you the kids that have played in the Premier, you've got 60 kids. But be careful on this because I'm going to sort it by games played now. All right. Of kids that are actually playing a regular shift, you got 10 or 20. And when I say 10 or 20 because, there's roughly 45 games played already in the league. You've got just about 7-8 guys that have played a full season. Then you start getting drop-off where guys are coming in and out of the lineup, or maybe have already dropped down and they're on the backside, meaning they were in the league. And I don't want to pick on any of these kids and pull up any of their names because it's not fair. But some of these kids, they're all experienced first, and then the USPHL Premier is second. But this gives you an idea that a lot of these kids here, where you see there's only 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, they got their shot and they're back playing in the Premier League again. So once again, out of 950, you've got 10 to 20 that have actually got legitimate time in the league. But once again, to really get an accurate number, I'd have to go in with each one of these kids and break it down again. Now I can do this with all the different leagues. I can come in here and I can go EHL and pull up EHL and do the same exact thing here. I can apply that premium filter and it will show me how many kids came over from the EHL. Significantly less amount of kids, and that's kind of interesting because the EHL is a pretty strong Tier 3 league, but your number of kids, roughly the same amount of kids are playing, but the amount of kids that had their shot are much, much less. So, and we could do that with all the different Tier 3 leagues. We could do it with, you can do that with the Canadian leagues too. You want to know what kids are coming from the CCHL, you just type in CCHL there and break it down. So, great tool. It allows you to sort it out. And once again, it's all tied. Remember, Elite Prospects, Rinknet, Instat, they're all working out the same database. So I'm just grabbing it from different places. So hopefully that helps a little bit on that one. Let's see here. Top 5 NA3 versus mid to low level NCD advantages, disadvantages. Well, it's hard to say because when you're talking top in any leagues, there's always great players on the top of any league. NCDC has some phenomenal players on the top of their league. So mid level to low level NCDC, it starts changing drastically. I've said this 1,000 times. The AJHL is not the NOL. The AJHL is not the BCHL. The AJHL is not the USHL. But the top couple of teams in the AJHL can play with any of those leagues. The NCDC has that same ability. When you're talking about the New Jersey Hitmen, Usually the Boston Junior Bruins, those teams just like Brooks up in the AJ, they can play with anybody. So you've got to kind of say, look, that league has a couple very established teams that do a very, very good job of getting talent in there. Now, there's a difference because they get talent on the teams, but that league still does not have a lot of fresh commits during the year. And I've covered this before. You're not going to go into the NCDC and see 30, 40, 50, 100 new fresh commits like you see in the North American Hockey League. A fresh commit means I come into the year without a Division I commitment. I leave the year with a Division I commitment. And every team in the North American Hockey League right now, I shouldn't say every team because I did not do that homework. I don't know this for a fact, but I would imagine 3 to 5, 4 to 7, 5 to 8, all the amount of fresh commitments teams have in the North American Hockey League. You'll have the vast majority of teams in the NCDC won't have any commitments. Now, there'll be a lot of D1 players playing because those teams stack up with players that have prior commitments. The New Jersey Hitmen are all Division I commitments. I shouldn't say. They got a ton of Division I commitments on their team usually, but they usually come to the team already with that commitment in hand. So the question goes back, top 5 NA3 versus mid to low NCDC. Tough call because, look at the North Iowa Bulls. That organization before they jumped up to NAHL were an unbelievable team and were pumping out players left and right to different higher levels of play, including getting D1 commits from time to time at an NA3HL level. Now, don't quote me on that for this last year because I wasn't that close, but historically over the years, it's been a really good program. And you've got programs like that all over the place. I would tend to say that there's still a slight advantage to the NCDC over other leagues that are Tier 3 leagues as far as the very top. But tough call because a lot of this is just flavor too. Do you like the coach? Is there opportunity? And is there a progressive path that shows that they can move you up to the next level after that? So hopefully that helps a little bit on that answer. I know I kind of danced around that a little bit. Let's see what else. Thoughts of the Gojo or the OJHL? Look, OJ this year and last year, because of what's going on with the pandemic, they've been beat to death. It's probably the league that I think the OJHL probably took the biggest hit because of this pandemic than anybody else. I mean, they lost the Buffalo Sabres organization out of there, which was a really, really good piece for that league. When that team completely had to step back and it got put on mothballs, it makes that league a different league. And the OJ's never been high on their numbers of Americans except for that Buffalo team. I still think that the teams are stronger. It's clearly, overall, from top to bottom, the league's a stronger league than the Gojo. But the Gojo, that's the Greater Ontario Junior Hockey League. Even though it's a level lower, it is considered B hockey. It's not Junior A, it's B. They've got some very, very well-managed teams in that league. And it's a very competitive league. You'll see a lot of players that will go to that league out of the Detroit market that did not make it into the North American Hockey League because of proximity. They like the fact that they can play right over the border in Windsor or over in Sarnia or something close because there's a lot of small cities right in that area that have teams. So I'm not opposed to people playing in the Gojo. It's just a hard step. Put an example. We're looking at one kid from that whole league right now. We don't scout that league. We had a U18 coach that's very respected in the industry, bringing the kid's name up, and we went and saw the kid, and there was a reason, some extenuating circumstances why a player was playing in that league, and we saw the kid, and we liked him, and we're looking at him, and that's all. We're looking at him now. But even to get eyes in that league, you just don't have that many people watching the league overall like you do watching the CJHL teams. So hopefully that helps. Once again, it's circumstantial. You could have a really great opportunity in a Gojo team, and if that allows you to move up from there, or if it allows you to get to where you want to go with college from there, meaning you're probably going to be looking at either ACHA or D3 coming out of the Gojo straight, or you got to look at it as a league of opportunity to advance. If you're going to look at it as an advancement league, I have no problem with that league at all. the top managed teams, and how do you figure that out? Just historically look at the teams that are on top. My opinion is the teams that are managed well are usually the teams that historically are consistent, and they don't always have to be the championship team, but are consistent in that top third, maybe the top 25%. That's really going to make a difference as far as how they're managed, how they're run. Consistency of coaching, are they keeping the same people in place all the time? That should tell you a lot. So hopefully that helps. Great question. That's it, folks. I'm going to call it a night. We still almost made it an hour. I hope you enjoyed a little bit about the system and how Instat, Elite Prospects, Rinknet, how it all integrates together, how it helps people get scouted, how it helps players get better, teams get better. If you have any other questions, please DM me. And I'm filling up quick. It's that time of year. If you're looking to get on a chaos call, a one-on-one call with me, book the calls through Junior Hockey Advisor or Junior Hockey, the Facebook page. You can get on there and you can do it, or you can just DM me. We can set something up there. It's that time of year where people are making decisions. They want to talk about their transactional point, meaning, do I go to prep? Do I go here? I'm not an advisor, but I can lay things out like I do on the show with a little bit more customization for you. If it's something you're interested in, please get yourself locked into an appointment now, because over the course of the next few weeks, I just get jammed up. Between now and April, it gets tougher and tougher to get me. So if that's something you're interested in, please do that right away. Besides that, folks, have a great night, and we'll see you next week. Take care.